From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Heat and drought impacts continue to follow scouts on the Pro Farmer Crop Tour.
We had some early heat, like in June, we had some 100-degree stuff, and oh man, and then it didn't rain.
As the situation in the Cornhusker State comes into focus.
Nebraska's been probably more disappointing because we expected more.
While in the east, we move into the I states.
I'm Michelle Rook on the eastern leg of the Pro Farmer Crop Tour. Day number 2 here in Indiana is a tale of two crops.
Will yields be enough to get a check in the W column? As day 2 of the Pro Farmer Crop Tour rolls on right now on AgDay.
The 2022 Pro Farmer Crop Tour on AgDay is brought to you by Pioneer. For cutting-edge agronomic advice for your farm, count on your local Pioneer team for year-round crop management insights. Pioneer, an American seed brand since 1926. And by Pivot Bio Proven 40. Predictable, productive, weatherproof. Turn to a better nitrogen with Pivot Bio Proven 40. Learn more at pivotbio.com.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths, and this is day 3 of the Pro Farmer Crop Tour. Today, scouts are already on the move. In the east, they're traveling from Illinois into eastern Iowa. And in the west, they're leaving Nebraska City and spending much of their day in western Iowa. Now let's briefly look back at the numbers from day 1. Now in Ohio, Pro Farmer Scouts estimating corn yields at 174.17 bushels to the acre, down almost 6% year over year. USDA, they put the state at 190 bushels to the acre. As for soybeans, remember, this is formulated by counting pods in a 3 by 3 foot square, coming in at 1,131.64 pods, down more than 5% from last year. USDA estimating the state at 57 bushels to the acre on soybeans. Now in South Dakota, where Pro Farmer Crop Tour scouts are estimating 118.45 bushels per acre for corn, that's down almost 22%. USDA putting it at 147 bushels to the acre. For soybeans, scouts counting 871.40 pods in a 3 by 3 foot square, down 12% from a year ago. Now USDA, it came in at 43 bushels to the acre. Now portions of South Dakota heavily impacted by drought and dryness, but so is Nebraska, where the western leg spent day 2. As Farm Journal's Tyne Morgan reports, summer heat domes over the state have left their mark.
Nebraska's been probably more disappointing because we expected more. A lot of irrigation in Nebraska.
As Brent Judish trekked across Nebraska this week, dryland fields north of Grand Island showed scars of both drought and heat.
We had some years yesterday where it tipped back from the top 3 inches, from the bottom 2 inches. It was consistent, top down, bottom up. That's something I've never seen before.
Those fields producing a yield ranging from 17 to 35 bushels per acre. And as Judish got into fields just east of Grand Island Tuesday morning,
this one here had a lot more stress than this one did, but we've seen that for a day and a half now.
Scouts saw irrigated yields up from Monday's routes across Nebraska, but still well below average.
First one was in the 140 range, and we had a 158, I think. So that's 30, 40 bushel less than we expected, but even way less than normal for this area.
Randy Holes is a scout this week, but he also farms about 20 miles south of Lincoln.
These ears are still upright for the most part. Ours, a lot of them have dropped. So that means rain is not going to help it.
He says the majority of his area is dry land, and those acres are so dry that corn harvest will be one of the earliest on record.
We're looking at next week possibly on the short season, early planted. So, and
typically harvest in August?
No.
He says the last time corn harvest happened in August was 2012. The drought plus the heat is proving to be a brutal combination for Nebraska farmers, as Hull's outlook for southeast Nebraska's crop remains grim.
Way below normal, for sure. Soybeans, I'm really concerned. They need the rain right now.
And Judish says for him, soybeans were the bigger disappointment across Nebraska this year.
This year they're showing stress. They're white in the afternoon. They got the leaves upside down. There's areas in the field where there's some browning going on where they're giving up. I haven't seen this much stress on my 10 tours.
All right, thanks, Tyne. Now in the east, scouts on day 2 made their way from central Indiana into central Illinois. The two I-states getting some timely rains recently, but are they enough to bump up yields? AgDay's Michelle Rook is covering the eastern leg of the tour.
On day number 2 of the Pro Farmer Crop Tour, the theme here in Indiana seems to be a tale of two crops, with soybeans still holding great yield potential while the corn has been a bit disappointing. Driving up to cornfields in Indiana, the crop looks healthy and high yielding, but as eastern leg agronomist Mark Bernard got into this field, he was disappointed to find some brittle snap and tip back.
Just goes back to the moisture situation and the heat. It's certainly not the 7 to 8 inch type years that we like to see.
There's also variability, and so Bernard thinks all this could result in corn yields below the 2021 tour average at nearly 193.5 BPA. And some farmers in Indiana are finding the same trend.
Well, last year we exceeded 200 on an average, like a 205 average in our farm. And I think we're going to be a 190 to 200, I hope, this year.
And I think I'm probably going to fall between that 180 and 190 this year because of the extreme dryness and heat in east central Indiana.
However, the soybean crop is another story due to moisture. Planting was late, followed by drought conditions in June. Since then, the areas on the drought monitor have shrunk, and recent rains may have spurred pod development.
I'm impressed so far with the pod counts considering how dry it's been. It's really not a bad looking bean crop thus far.
Counts generally reflected that, running above last year and the 3-year average of 1,148 pods. Farmers hope that translates into bumper soybean yields, especially with little disease or insect pressure.
Soybeans are looking really good. We've had timely rains in August, and that's usually when beans are made. So I've got a lot of high thoughts about our soybean yields.
I'm Michelle Rook reporting.
All right, thanks, Michelle. And this may be a sign of just how difficult the weather has been for many producers this year. New prevent plant numbers from USDA's Farm Service Agency August report. Now, it puts prevent plant acres at 6.4 million. That's 3 times higher than last year. Corn, the hardest hit, with more than 3 million acres unplanted. North Dakota has just over 1 million acres of that, and there's more than 500,000 in South Dakota. And we're continuing to bring you the very latest from the tour, both online and on air. We'll bring you day 3 results again tonight during Crop Tour Live. Make sure you join us at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. You'll find the link at agweb.com/crop tour. And the drought isn't just a factor this year when it comes to crops. Drovers reporting it could reshape America's cattle industry for years to come. Now take a look at this. By the first week of this month, beef cow slaughter was 14% higher than the same period last year, totaling 2.4 million head. Sterling Marketing's president saying that's the highest slaughter rate year to date since 1984. John Nalivka says we're heading for an inventory reduction of at least 1 million beef cows by January of next year. And that would represent a 3% reduction in the lowest beef cow inventory since 2014. But right now in Texas, a once-in-a-century weather event. Heavy rains have caused this dangerous flooding in Utah, Arizona, and now Texas. The storm stalled in East Texas, bringing even more rain. In one 24-hour period, the Dallas-Fort Worth area saw more than 9 inches of rain, making it the second wettest August ever so far for that region. Meteorologist Matt Yurosavik joins us. And Matt, in many cases, it's just too much rain too soon in that parched area of the country.
Yeah, that's right, Clinton. We've had not a lot of rain in parts, especially eastern parts of Texas, right around the Dallas area, and now these storms still kind of hanging over the same areas, just a little bit farther to the east. But notice this right here, high flooding potential across northern parts of Louisiana and even western parts of Mississippi there. Could be closing in on that Jackson area, Alexandria included as well, and Shreveport, and then still looking at a moderate risk for some flooding down towards Austin and Houston in eastern parts of Texas. So still some heavier rain going on there for today. But we wanted to show you crop tour. We got crews out there, the eastern leg moving toward Iowa City, western leg moving toward Spencer in Iowa, and we could see a few of those scattered showers and thunderstorms there as we head through the afternoon with an upper low kind of spinning through the upper Midwest. So you'll have to keep an eye to the sky out there, but here's a look at that forecast. Spencer, Iowa, 86, some isolated storms late in the day, and then dealing in Iowa City, mid-80s again with a few isolated storms late in the day. And talk about rare, Jared Creed experiencing a first on crop tour while surveying a field in Herman, Nebraska. Yep. Look at this, not a single ear of corn on any of those stalks. Jared making it clear that it isn't representative of the entire area, but a single field that likely got stung by Mother Nature and other factors. I'll have more on your forecast coming up.
We're back in the fields of Indiana for a closer look at the challenges facing the corn crop across the state. That's today in the country.
Your next piece of equipment is on MachineryPete.com. Search equipment from dealerships across the country to find what you're looking for. Only on MachineryPete.com.
Something to keep an eye on as we move into harvest, natural gas prices. On Tuesday, U.S. natural gas for September delivery topped $10 per million British thermal unit. That's up more than 20% this month and more than twice the price a year ago. In fact, prices haven't been that high since 2008. Analysts say the highs show the unceasing demand for U.S. shale gas across the Atlantic and likely point to higher prices ahead. The latest price spike coming in response to Russia's plans to shut down one of Europe's main fuel arteries for a few days at the end of the month.
Unspoken truth about pests on AgDay, brought to you by Duracade Viptera trait stacks, guarding against 16 above and below ground corn pests like mid-season threats of corn rootworm, earworm, and western bean cutworm. Comprehensive control when it matters most.
The Scouts on the crop tour also looking for signs of pests, and right now in Indiana, fruit farmers are on the lookout for the spotted lanternfly. The pest spotted last month in Indiana's Huntington County, just southwest of Fort Wayne in the northern part of the state. That's just 1 year after its initial sighting in the southern part of Indiana. Now, a professor of entomology at Purdue saying it poses a significant risk to wine grape growers, honeybee, and walnut tree producers. Experts are warning producers to remain vigilant in inspecting for them. The species was first detected in the U.S. back in 2020.
Well, we want to start you off by taking a look at the flooding potential as we're heading through today, because we do have some more flooding possible. It's going to be a slight risk for flooding parts of Arizona and New Mexico, but then we get into Texas, an area that's seen a lot of rain, especially East Texas, over the last couple of days, and they're going to get a little bit more of that shower and thunderstorm activity, especially east and south of the Dallas area. But take a look at this. If we zoom in on this area here, eastern Texas from Houston back to Austin and then right up into the Louisiana area, Shreveport, Alexandria, and over towards Jackson, Mississippi. This area right here in a high threat for flooding as we head through the afternoon, expecting inches of rain with showers and thunderstorms. It could be heavier as we head throughout the day. So definitely areas to watch in that yellow and the red shaded regions as we head through today. Here's a look at the rain in this area. And again, some of this maxing out on our color palette here. We could be over 5 or 6 inches locally on this rainfall, and some even seeing more than that across mostly northern portions of Louisiana. But again, this could be widespread and spreading eastward towards the Florida Panhandle as we head through the next couple of days. You can see that is all of that moisture spreading eastward through the south and east, but then we'll see eventually over the next 10 days more rain right through the middle part of the country, and that's going to help some of those drought conditions there, North Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and then up into parts of the Corn Belt as well. Not a lot going on in the Mid-Atlantic and the Great Lakes, but still a little bit of shower activity and still more back in the southwest as well. And this is why we've got this low pressure system dragging another one with it. That's moving through parts of the deep south and along the Gulf Coast. That's what's going to really start to bring in those showers and storms. And then another system moving through the upper Midwest. It's going to be mostly dry in the west, except for, again, those monsoon showers and thunderstorms. And then those systems are going to pull off towards the east. But it is going to be warm. Still temperatures in the 80s and 90s along the middle part of the country. Same thing goes with tomorrow, where we're going to see higher humidity off to the east as well. We'll continue to track all of that right here on Ag Day. That's a look around the country. Now let's take a look at the weather where you live. Whitehall, Wisconsin, mostly sunny with a thunderstorm late in the day, a high near 83 degrees. 78 degrees with showers and thunderstorms in Jackson, Mississippi. And Green Valley, Arizona, scattered showers and thunderstorms, a high near 90 degrees.
There are new cases of African swine fever in parts of Asia. We'll have details next. And later, dive back into the fields of Indiana as we take a closer look at the state's corn crop potential in the country.
Ag Day is brought to you by End Zone from Farm Shop MFG, which allows you to rehydrate your soybeans from 10 to 13%. On a 20,000 bushel bin, that's an extra semi-load added to your bottom line. Order your End Zone fan by August 29th and receive 7% off.
A province in South Korea ordered a 48-hour standstill on pig farms. Now, it comes after confirmation of a second African swine fever case this year. The outbreak happening at a pig farm located about 100 miles northeast of Seoul. Quarantine officials were working to slaughter 5,600 pigs raised at that farm. They were also disinfecting pig farms and adjacent areas. Now, here in the U.S., lower slaughter numbers right now are driving pork prices higher. An economist with USDA's Economic Research Service says pork production this year is expected to be down more than 2% from a year ago. And that's largely due to a lower number of available slaughter-ready hogs. Now, they estimate that hog prices should average about $74 per hundredweight this year. That's almost 10% higher than last year. The July cutout had an average value of $120 or 60 cents per hundredweight. Livestock need to eat, and corn is a major feed grain. Up next, we return to Indiana to take a closer look at the state's corn crop as our crop tour continues.
Backnology Days is back. August 25th through the 27th. Come see for yourself why this annual event draws thousands of farmers to Atlanta, Indiana. Learn more and register today at bexhybrids.com/fieldshows.
The eastern leg of the Pro Farmer Crop Tour spending a lot of time Tuesday in Indiana, a state that could see record soybean yields this year, according to the latest USDA crop report. However, as Marley Thomas of TV station WLFI reports, it may be a different story for Indiana's corn crop.
What month makes or breaks soybeans? It's August, September. Those two halves of those months, that's the 30-day period that makes or breaks soybeans.
Sean Castile says it's a critical time for soybeans right now, but if things stay on track, the USDA's crop report says Indiana farmers could see record-breaking soybean yields.
For Indiana, they put us at 60 bushels per acre, which would be a record.
The report also shows more acres of soybeans will be harvested this year compared to corn. Indiana farmers anticipate harvesting 5.83 million acres of soybeans this year, up 190,000 acres from last year.
We're nearly 1 million acres higher than corn this year, and I do think a large part of that's probably due to the fertilizer prices, nitrogen in particular on the corn side.
Purdue Extension corn specialist Dan Quinn agrees. Prices and availability for nitrogen fertilizer in particular was a big factor for farmers when deciding what to plant this year.
With, fertilizer prices being double, you know, nitrogen demand for corn crop, you know, that's pretty significant for a lot of farmers. So there's probably a lot of farmers that decided to move to soybeans this year rather than plant corn due to those concerns.
For Indiana's corn crop, the USDA's projected corn yield is lower this year at 189 bushels per acre, down 6 bushels from 2021. But Quinn says that's still pretty good.
A lot of corn has really come around recently with the weather we've had, and predicting 189 bushels per acre is pretty good. That's about 5% above trend yield for the state of Indiana, so we're looking pretty good based on this report.
Quinn says while the projected corn yields look decent, Indiana is down for acres of corn planted and overall predicted production.
The state of Indiana, we're down about 6% in total acres in corn. And they're looking at, when you look at the total production that we're going to have in corn for the state of Indiana, we're down about 9%.
All right, thanks, Marley. And a reminder, we will have the Pro Farmer Crop Tour yield estimates for Indiana and Nebraska tomorrow morning right here on Ag Day. And make sure you watch tonight online for Day 3 results from Illinois and Western Iowa. Join us for Crop Tour Live at 8 p.m. Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. And that's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad that you tuned in. From all of us here at Ag Day, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day. Have a fun day.